This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first today, Gregg Doud discusses China and trade with an audience during the Governor's Ag Summit.
Everywhere I go in 5 months, I've probably given at least 50, maybe 75 of these talks. And in every one of them, I do this, Jackie. This is your homework assignment. It's on USTR's website. This is the 14-page executive summary. There is a 200-page document. This document is entitled Findings of the Investigation into China's Acts, Policies, and Practices Related to Technology Transfer, Intellectual Property, and Innovation under Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974. In English, what is that talking about? That accounts China's cybersecurity theft, intellectual property theft, forced technology transfer, licensing regimes. Folks, that 200-page document was 8 months worth of work by some of the best people in our government, 4,000 person hours, looking at all of this. And by tabulation of all that, it accounts for the fact that we think the problem here is somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 billion. So that's where that first $50 billion came from. And China's reaction to that was, well, we don't like what you're doing here, so we're going to retaliate against you for $50 billion. And of course, the president said, let me make myself clear, we're serious. So when we import $500 billion from China and we export $150 billion to China, the president's next step was, I see your $50 billion, China, and I raise you $200 billion. Do I have your attention now? What is the president of the United States trying to say? Well, let me explain it to you from agriculture's perspective. I want you to understand that right now we have in agriculture 2 of the biggest WTO cases in history against China in agriculture. You see, China, somewhere along the line here, decided in the last few years, apparently, that it didn't want to play by the rules any longer. And what I mean by that is this. Do you realize since 2010, China has not reported to the WTO what it spends on its subsidies to farmers? And this WTO case this issue first came to my attention when I was working for Senator Roberts on the Ag Committee in 2011. It took us about 5 years to get it up and running, and the Obama administration filed the WTO case, and now we're getting towards the close of this, and the problem is this takes a long time. But again, we think China has spent in excess of what it was allowed to do under the WTO on its farmers by somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 billion. The example that I give in terms of, we ask, well, what do we want in agriculture? What do we want in this relationship with China? Let me give you just one example. If you look at USDA's World Ag Supply and Demand Report numbers of the last 3 years, you'll notice China's corn stocks have come down from 110 million tons to 60 million tons. Let me give you some context there. U.S. corn ending stocks were about 55 million tons. How did they get to 110 million tons? Well, it's pretty easy when your support price is over $9 a bushel. And in fact, today, China's support price in wheat is double the world price. About 52% of the world's residual supply of wheat is in one country, command and control, operated by state-owned entities and a communist party. Our point is this, folks. If we don't address this, what they're doing in these commodities is costing every farmer in the world money.
Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean Update.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.